The alien slave market was loud. Traders shouted. Buyers bargained. The smell of metal, blood, and sweat filled the air. It was not a place for kindness. It was a place to sell the broken, the lost, and the forgotten. Cages lined the dusty path. Inside them, different beings sat, some angry, some scared, some already without hope. Buyers walked past looking for strong bodies, obedient minds, or beautiful faces, but one cage stood out. It was silent. No sound, no crying, no shouting. Inside that cage, a young alien girl sat with her knees to her chest. Her skin was pale blue. Her hair long, tangled, and dirty. She had no clothes, only a thin blanket someone had thrown in weeks ago. Her body was thin, like she had not eaten in days. Her face showed no emotion, no fear, no hope. The sign on her cage read, "Defective. Do not touch." A large alien trader passed by with 2 customers. He laughed and pointed at her. "That one? Ha, she's cursed. No one wants her. Been here for 9 rotations. Even the worst buyers refuse her." One of the customers looked closer. "Why is she like that?" The trader spat on the ground. "She don't. Speak. Don't scream, don't even move when beaten. Something's wrong in the head, or maybe worse. Some say she's cursed by old tech gods. See that mark on her back? No one knows what it means, but they say everyone who tried to buy her died." The customer quickly stepped back. "I don't want her." "Didn't think so." The trader grinned. The girl did not react. Her eyes stared at the ground. She didn't flinch. She didn't move. She looked more like a ghost than a living being. Hours passed. The sun above the market turned red as evening came. Then Boots walked across the dirt. Heavy, calm, human. A man in a dark coat stopped in front of the cage. He looked at the girl for a long time. Silent. The trader came near. "You looking to buy, human? I've got strong warriors, trained dancers, even some rare twin species." The man didn't move. He kept staring at the girl. Finally, he spoke. "How much for her?" The trader blinked. "Her? That's a waste of money. She's broken." "How much?" The trader scratched his head. "Look, she's been sitting there for almost a year, eats barely anything. Never says a word. One guy tried to force her. His ship blew up the next day. I'm telling you, human, this girl is—" "How much?" The trader sighed. "Take her for free if you want. I'll even throw in a blanket." The man nodded once. "Done." He unlocked the cage himself. The girl didn't move, didn't look at him, just sat there like a statue. He placed his thick coat over her shoulders. Still, no movement. Slowly, she lifted her head, and for the first time, her eyes met someone's. The human's eyes were calm, not cruel, not hungry, just steady. He held out his hand. She stared at it. Then, after many heartbeats, she reached for it. Her fingers were cold, small, weak. The human said nothing. He didn't ask her name. He didn't say, "You're safe, now." He just walked slowly, holding her hand, leading her through the market. And the people watched in silence. Some laughed quietly. Some whispered curses. Others looked away, thinking he was a fool. But the girl, she looked back at the cage. She had never left it before. Now someone had taken her. Why? Why would a human do that? She didn't understand. But as she stepped outside the gates of the market, wrapped in a warm coat, holding the hand of a stranger for the first time in her life, she felt something strange inside her chest. It was small. It was weak. It almost hurt, but it was there. Hope. She had never seen stars so closely before. Inside the human's ship, the glass window stretched wide like the sky itself. Lights blinked. Machines hummed softly. The floor didn't shake like the cages back at the market. It felt safe. The girl sat in a corner, still wrapped in the human's coat. She hadn't spoken since he took her. She didn't know how to speak anymore. She had forgotten her voice long ago. The human didn't ask her anything. He didn't try to touch her. He just walked around the ship calmly, like she wasn't a burden. Like he hadn't just picked up the galaxy's most unwanted creature. His name was Jack. She heard it from the ship's AI voice when it said, "Welcome aboard, Captain Jack." Jack didn't look like other buyers she had seen before. His face was rough, his beard short, but his eyes were different, not full of hunger or power. They looked tired, but kind. He brought her a bowl of warm food. She stared at it. "Eat," he said softly, placing the bowl on the table. "It's just soup." She waited. Maybe it was poisoned. Maybe it was a trick. He walked away, didn't force her. 5 minutes passed. She touched the bowl. The soup smelled strange, but not bad. She sipped it, her eyes widened. It was good. Real food, not market scraps. She ate slowly, like she was afraid it would vanish. Jack sat across the room, fixing a broken tool. He didn't stare at her. He didn't smile. He acted like this was normal. But for her, it was not. After eating, she looked at the bed in the corner of the room. Soft, clean, warm. She didn't dare touch it. Instead, she curled up in the corner and pulled the coat tighter. Jack noticed, but didn't stop her. "Sleep wherever you feel safe," he said simply. Later that night, she awoke with a scream. A nightmare. In the dream, she was still in the cage, still cold, still broken, and the fire was coming again. She opened her eyes to darkness, but this time she was not alone. A soft light came on. Jack stood by the door. Not angry, not yelling, just holding something. A blanket. He placed it gently near her and walked away. She didn't say thank you. She didn't know how, but she took the blanket. The next day, she followed him around the ship silently. He let her. She watched him fix wires, check star maps, make coffee. Everything was new. At one point, she saw her reflection in a metal wall. She stopped. Who was that? A thin girl with bruises. Tangled hair. Strange mark on her back glowing faintly. Her eyes empty. She turned away. Later, as Jack sat eating his meal, he spoke suddenly. "You're not broken," he said. "I don't know what they did to you, but you're not cursed." The girl looked down. She wanted to believe him, but she couldn't. Not. Yet Jack stood and walked to the console. "I've seen curses," he added, "and you're not one." He opened a file on the screen. It was an old news record, a royal family, a burning city, screams, a baby girl taken away before the palace fell. The girl saw the symbol, the same one on her back. She touched it without thinking. Jack looked at her. "You know this, don't you?" She froze. Did she? Something inside her shifted. A name, a memory, a song. Gone, but still there. Like dust in the corner of a forgotten room. Jack leaned forward. "You don't have to tell me anything. Just don't give up." The girl blinked. No one had ever said that to her before, not even once. As the ship moved through the stars, something changed between them. She wasn't a slave anymore. She wasn't a curse. She was a mystery. And Jack? He wasn't just her rescuer. He was the first person who saw her. Not the mark, not the silence, but her. The girl sat quietly beside him as he flew the ship. She didn't speak, but slowly she leaned her head against the wall. For the first time, in a long, long time, she slept without fear. The ship floated quietly in space. Outside, stars moved like slow fireflies. Inside, the girl was awake before Jack. She didn't move at first, just sat on the floor, wrapped in the coat and blanket he had given her. Her eyes were on the screen in front of her. It still showed the royal family. The baby in the image looked like her, but cleaner, healthier, smiling. She touched her shoulder. The glowing mark on her back had always been a curse. At least that's what the trader said. But now, what if it wasn't? Jack, walked in holding a cup of coffee. He didn't speak, didn't ask questions, just gave her a small nod. She looked at him, then slowly turned her back to him. She pulled down the coat just enough to show the strange glowing symbol on her skin, a curved shape. 3 dots, 2 lines, 1 burn. It pulsed softly. Jack stared. He didn't gasp, he didn't panic. Instead, he pulled out a small scanner and walked closer. "I'll scan it," he said quietly. "It won't hurt?" She didn't move. He scanned it. The screen beeped and flashed, then paused. Jack frowned. "Huh." The girl turned her head, curious. Jack pointed to the data. "This mark, it's not a curse." He tapped the screen again. "It's a code." Her eyes widened. Jack zoomed in. "It's encrypted. It's not just art. It's old royal tech, only used for identification. This was made to protect someone, not shame them." The girl couldn't believe it. All her life, everyone had said the mark meant she was cursed, untouchable, defective. Now this human said it was a protection code? Why? Jack pulled up more files. Old war records. Secret tech used by lost royal families to mark hidden heirs. He looked at her again. "This was put on you when you were a baby," he said, "to hide you. Maybe even to keep you safe." She looked at the screen. So, she wasn't trash. She wasn't broken. She was important. But why was she thrown into a cage? Why was she left alone? Jack stood up and started walking. He opened a kegcade drawer and pulled out an old data pad. "I have a contact," he said. "She knows things. If anyone can tell us more, it's her." The girl blinked. Jack smiled just a little. "You ready for a trip?" She didn't answer with words. But she stood up. That was enough. They landed on a forgotten moon. The sky was purple and everything smelled like old machines. Jack led her through an abandoned outpost. Rusted doors, faded lights, broken drones. Finally, they reached a dark room. A single voice echoed from inside. "I heard you were coming." "Jack." It was a female voice, old, calm, sharp like glass. A tall alien woman walked out from the shadows. Her eyes were silver. Her hair looked like wires. She was part machine. She looked at the girl, then at Jack. "So, you finally found her?" Jack nodded. "You know who she is?" The woman smiled strangely. Everyone thought she was dead. She walked to the girl slowly. "You don't remember, do you?" she asked. The girl shook her head. The woman leaned in. "You were born on Virelon Prime, a royal child, the last of the Talrea line. They burned your city, but your mother's guard escaped with you." She pointed to the glowing mark. "This brand kept you hidden from deathbots, but it also made others fear you. It worked too well." The girl's eyes filled with tears. She didn't want to be royalty. She just wanted to know who she was. Jack stepped forward. "Why did they abandon her? Why was she naked in a cage?" The woman looked sad. "Because the people protecting her died. The smugglers who took her didn't know who she was. Just a baby with a strange mark. So they sold her, over and over, until no one wanted her anymore." The girl sat down slowly. It was too much. Too many answers. Too much pain. She covered her face. Jack sat beside her. He didn't say anything, but he placed a hand gently on her shoulder. The woman watched them. "She has a choice now," she said. "She can hide forevers or take back her name." The girl looked up. The name echoed in her mind. Sahla. That was her name. Sahla. And maybe it was time to stop being the girl no one touched. Maybe it was time to be someone else. Someone strong. The name Sahla now echoed in her mind. It felt strange. Familiar. Yet distant. Like a song she once heard in a dream. Back aboard the ship, Sahla sat beside Jack as he flew through a quiet sector of space. She didn't ask where they were going. She didn't need to. Jack's face was serious. He had seen something in that mark, something more than just a code. He was chasing answers now, and answers meant danger. They landed on a small space station hidden near a dead asteroid belt. The place had no name. Only criminals and spies came here. Jack led Sala down narrow, metal halls lit by flickering blue lights. No guards, no law, just shadows and secrets. They stopped at a door marked only with a red X. Jack knocked once, then twice, then waited. The door opened. A short alien woman with glowing yellow eyes stared at them. "You brought her," she whispered. Jack nodded. "I need answers." The alien woman's name was Dr. Vix. She used to work for the old empires. Now she sold her knowledge to the highest bidder. But this time, Jack paid with something better than money: trust. Vix scanned Sala's back with an ancient, forbidden device. The moment the scanner touched the mark, the lights flickered. The machine hissed. A hologram appeared in the air. It showed a royal symbol: Talrea dynasty declared extinct. Then words appeared in bold red letters: bounty active, confirmed target, execute on sight. Reward: 9 million credits. Dead only. Sala gasped. Dead only. Jack's jaw tightened. Who placed this bounty? Vix answered coldly. The ones who destroyed her family. The syndicate. They were afraid someone survived, that someone would return. For revenge, she turned to Sala. You are that someone. Sala shook her head. I don't want revenge. I didn't even know who I was. Vix looked at her sadly. It doesn't matter what you want. They only see your blood. Your blood means power. Jack stepped forward. Can we remove the mark? Vix frowned. No, it's bound to her DNA. If we try, it could kill her. Sala's legs shook. So, the thing that marked her as a royal also marked her for death. They returned to the ship in silence. Sala sat alone in the sleeping quarters, hugging her knees. She stared at the wall. Before, she had no name, no home. She was just an unwanted slave. Now she had a name, but with that name came a death sentence. Jack entered quietly and sat across from her. You okay? He asked softly. She didn't answer at first. Then in a voice like wind, she whispered, Why did you take me? Jack looked at her. I saw you in that cage, he said. And I remembered my daughter. Sala looked up, surprised. She died. In a border war, Jack said. I couldn't save her. But when I saw you, I didn't see a curse. I saw someone the galaxy threw away. He smiled sadly. I couldn't let that happen again. Sala's eyes filled with tears. She wiped them quickly, then she stood up. Her legs still weak, but her voice stronger now. Then help me live. Jack nodded. Suddenly the ship's alarm screamed. Warning, bounty ship locking on. They rushed to the control room. On the screen, a dark ship approached fast. Black metal. Blood-red lights. A bounty hunter, Jack cursed. They found us fast. Sala's heart pounded. What do we do? Jack handed her a small blaster. You hide in the vent. Sala shook her head. No. I want to help. Jack stared at her. You sure? She nodded. I'm done hiding. The enemy ship fired. Jack dodged through asteroid fields, but they were being chased hard. Lights blinked. Shields dropped. Sala climbed into the gunnery seat. She had never fired a weapon before. But something inside her clicked. She locked onto the attacker and fired. The shot hit the enemy wing. Jack whooped. Nice shot, Princess, Sala smiled. For the first time in her life, the battle ended with Jack crashing the ship through a meteor to lose the hunter. They barely escaped. But something had changed. Sala was no longer the girl waiting to die. She was fighting to live, and she wasn't alone anymore. The stars looked peaceful from inside the ship, but peace was a lie. Jack's ship was no longer a traveler's vessel. It was now marked, tracked, hunted, and Sala was the reason. Since the bounty was confirmed, Every dark corner of the galaxy whispered her name. Royal blood. Kill on sight. Human protector. Target 2. 3 days after escaping, the first bounty hunter Jack and Sala landed on a frozen moon called Glaro 7 to make repairs. The planet had no cities, no law, only ice, wind, and silence. But even here, danger followed. That night, Sala stood outside the ship. The ice cracked softly under her bare feet as she looked up at the glowing rings above. She wasn't the same girl from the cage anymore. Her hair was still messy, her face still thin, but her eyes, they were no longer empty. Jack joined her. "You okay?" She nodded. "The stars used to scare me." "Why?" "I thought they meant I was too small to matter." She looked at him. "But I think maybe I do matter," Jack smiled. "You always did?" Suddenly, a sound, metal scraping, movement in the snow. Jack turned, blaster drawn. Inside. Now. They sealed the ship, but it was too late. The sensors lit up. Multiple life forms, fast, armed. Closing in, Sala looked at the screen. "They found us again." Jack checked the weapons. "Not bounty hunters this time, mercenaries." He paused. "Military trained. Someone paid a lot to send them." Sala felt her chest tighten. "Because of me." Jack didn't answer. He simply handed her a second blaster. "You said you wanted to live." Sala gripped the weapon. "Then we fight." They cut the ship's lights and waited. The mercenaries surrounded them in silence. They wore black armor, moved like shadows. One of them sent a message through the comm. "Hand over the girl. You walk free." Jack responded coldly. "Come take her." Then it began. Smoke grenades. Shots fired. Jack moved like a war veteran. Fast. Focused. Fearless. Sala stayed low, returning fire, protecting the control room. Her hands shook, but she hit her target. Once, twice. She wasn't perfect, but she was learning. Suddenly, one mercenary broke through the vents and came up behind her. He grabbed her arm and threw her down. Her head hit the floor. Stars exploded in her vision. The man pointed a blade at her throat. "You're not a princess, you're a problem." But Sahla, bleeding, dizzy, lifted her arm and fired her blaster straight into his face. He collapsed. Her hands trembled. She had killed a man. But she didn't cry. She got up. She kept going. By the time it was over, 5 mercenaries were dead. 2 ran away into the icy wild. Jack limped toward her. "You okay?" Sala looked down at the body she had dropped. "I didn't want to," she whispered. "But he would have." Jack put a hand on her shoulder. "You did what you had to." She wiped her face. "More will come." He nodded. "Yes, but so will help." She looked up. Help? That night, as Jack worked on fixing the damage, a secret call came in on an old encrypted channel. Jack looked at the screen. A message played. "To the human protecting Sahla Talrea, we were loyal to her family. We thought she was dead. But now we see the truth. Keep her alive. You are not alone." Sala watched from the shadows. Her heart beat fast. She was no longer hunted alone. She had allies now. Outside the ship, snow covered the battlefield. The stars still glowed cold and far, but inside the girl, once cold and forgotten, a fire was waking up. The hunters in the dark would come again. But this time, she would be ready. Sala sat beside a cracked mirror inside the ship. Her face was bruised. A small cut crossed her cheek. Her hands were sore from the last battle. But what she stared at was her own eyes. She whispered her name again. Sala. It still felt strange, like trying on a suit that didn't fit yet. She had been a slave, a ghost, a thing no one wanted. Now people were dying to find her, some to protect her, some to kill her. Jack entered carrying a small box. "Got something for you." He sat beside her on the floor and opened it. Inside was a folded cloth. Sala blinked. "What is it?" Jack gently unfolded it. It was armor, small and light, designed for her size, shaped to fit her slim frame. But it wasn't cold like the armor worn by mercenaries. It was beautiful. Silver-lined. Simple. Strong. He said, "I built it from scraps. Not royal. Not perfect. But it'll keep you alive." Sala touched it carefully. This is for me?" Jack nodded. "You've earned it." She shook her head. "I don't know how to lead anyone. I don't know how to fight well. I still feel like that girl in the cage." Jack turned to face her fully, his voice low but clear. "You were in a cage, yes, but you survived it." He paused. "You protected me when I was shot. You stood and fought. You faced killers without crying. Sala, you're not the girl in the cage anymore." She looked down. Jack continued, softer now. "They tried to break you, but they failed. You don't need a throne. You already have something more powerful." "What?" He looked into her eyes. "Choice." Sala's throat tightened. All her life, people had made choices for her. Now someone told her she had the power to choose herself. Later that night, they sat by the main ship window, looking out at a nearby nebula. Jack shared a story. "I once believed in something," he said, "a cause, a flag. I fought in a war no one remembers now. Lost friends, lost family. My daughter. She died because I followed orders instead of listening to my heart." Sala listened quietly. "I promised myself I wouldn't make that mistake." "Again," Jack said. "When I saw you, I didn't see a mission. I saw a second chance." Sala leaned back. "No one's ever said that to me before," she said. "No one's ever believed in me." Jack nodded. "Well, now someone does." The next morning, Sala wore the armor. It felt heavy at first, but as she stood in it, she felt taller, like it didn't weigh her down. It held her up. Jack smiled when he saw her. "Ready to learn how to lead?" Sala tilted her head. "You're going to train me?" "No," he said. "I'm going to remind you who you already are." For days, they trained. Sala learned more than weapons. She learned how to move, how to think, how to read people, how to give orders, how to choose between fighting and fleeing. Jack was strict but fair, and every time she failed, he said the same thing. "You're not the girl in the cage." One night, exhausted from training, Sala asked, "What if I still fail?" Jack shrugged. "Then you get up and try again." She looked at him. "Why do you care so much?" Jack didn't smile this time, because no one cared for me once. It nearly killed me. He looked at her with eyes full of truth. "I won't let that happen to you." Then came the message. A rebel group on the edge of the sector sent coordinates. They wanted to meet Sala, not because she was royalty, but because they believed she could unite them. Jack looked at her. "What do you want to do?" Sala thought, for a long time, then stood. "I want to meet them." He raised an eyebrow. "Are you ready?" She didn't hesitate. "I am now." The ship changed direction. So did Sahla. She was still afraid. But she was no longer alone. She was the girl a human had believed in when no one else had. And now, she believed in herself. The ship hovered above the rebel base hidden in a red canyon on the desert world of Veltora. The sky burned orange with sandstorms, and deep inside the cliffs they waited for her. The rebels, the forgotten soldiers, the broken families who once served the Talrea line. Sala, once naked in a cage, now stood tall in silver armor, beside the human who gave her a second chance. She wasn't a symbol anymore. She was a choice. And now, it was time to claim her name in the light. As the ship landed, Jack checked his blaster. "We walk in slow, no weapons raised, but stay alert." Sahla nodded, Her heart pounded. This was it. No turning back now. The ship door opened. Wind and red sand blew against her face, but she did not flinch. She walked forward. Hundreds of eyes stared from behind broken walls, from rooftops, from shadows. Many had seen the bounty. Most had heard the stories, but now they saw her with their own eyes, a young woman with the mark of royalty, and beside her, a human protector, a death worlder, a legend in his own way. A voice called out, "Is it true? Are you the last of Talrea?" Sahla stopped. Then slowly she removed her armor's shoulder plate, revealing the glowing mark on her back. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Another voice shouted, "Then speak. If you're the heir, show us why you deserve it." Sala walked up. To the center of the courtyard climbed an old stone and raised her voice. "I was thrown away, sold, chained, left to rot, not because I was weak, but because those in power feared I might live." She looked at them. "I survived, not because of blood, not because of a crown, but because one human reminded me I had the right to live." She pointed to Jack, and he never asked for anything in return. She took a deep breath. "I am not asking you to follow a princess. I'm asking you to fight for yourselves, for your children, for a galaxy that no longer belongs to slavers and tyrants." She paused. "My name is Sala Talrea, and I am not here to rule. I am here to rise. With you." Silence. Then, one rebel dropped his blaster to the ground and kneeled. Then another, and another, until the whole canyon echoed with one word: Sala. That night, fires lit the base. Celebrations began. Plans were whispered. War maps drawn. But Jack felt uneasy. He stood outside the gathering, eyes scanning the darkness. Sala joined him. "You don't look happy." Jack frowned. "Too easy, too fast, I don't trust it." Just then, the alarms blared. Ships, many, dropping from orbit. The syndicate had come. The sky turned red with flame. Black warships rained fire onto the canyon. Rebels screamed and scrambled. Sala rushed to the command center, barking orders like a real commander. "Evacuate the families. Frontline fighters to the upper cliffs. Use the terrain. We fight from above." Jack watched her with pride. She had changed. She was no longer hiding. She was leading. Then came the voice across the open comm. Cold. Metallic. Familiar. "This is Commander Zareth of the Syndicate. Turn over the girl. We will spare the rest." Sala grabbed the mic. "This girl has a name, and she will not run." The rebels fought hard. The cliff shook from explosions, smoke filled the air. Screams echoed across the desert. Jack and Sala fought side by side, blasting Syndicate troops, covering the wounded, moving like two parts of the same soul. But they were outnumbered. Zareth himself landed with a squad of elite killers, robots, and assassins trained only to destroy. Sala found herself surrounded on the ridge. Jack saw it, but he was pinned down behind wreckage. "Sala," he shouted, firing desperately. Zareth stepped forward. "You should have stayed in your cage," he sneered. Sala raised her blaster, but Zareth shot it out of her hand. He raised his blade. Then, Jack jumped in front of her. The blade stabbed into his side. Time slowed. Sala screamed. Jack fell to his knees. Blood. So much blood. Zareth pulled the blade out and raised it again. You humans never learn. But before he could strike, Sala caught the blade mid-air. Her hands bled. But she didn't let go, eyes glowing, voice trembling with rage. She said, "You tried to erase me. You failed." She twisted the blade, disarming Zareth. Then, with a roar that wasn't royal but human, she drove the blade into his chest. Zareth gasped and fell. Silence followed, then cheers, then weeping. The Syndicate forces fled. The battle was won, but Sala didn't care. She dropped to her knees beside Jack. He was still breathing, but barely. "Don't die," she whispered. "Not now. Not after everything." Jack smiled weakly. "You did good, kid. Stay with me," He touched her cheek. I told you, you're not the girl in the cage. Then he closed his eyes. Sala screamed for the medics. Hours later, as the sun rose over Veltora, Jack lay in a recovery pod. Stable. Alive. Resting. Sala sat beside him, wearing the cloak of her ancestors, the armor Jack made for her, and the crown once melted into a necklace around her neck. She pressed her forehead to the glass of the pod. I was nothing, she whispered, but you believed in me. A rebel officer stepped forward. What now, princess? Sala stood slowly. She looked out over the canyon, now full of survivors, fighters, and the start of something new. She answered, now, we build a world where no girl ends up in a cage again.